It's 2022, and we had just gotten out of the COVID pandemic. I felt bored and tired and, lazy. I was used to just spending all my time at home, just playing video games, watching Netflix. My school day was 4 or 5 hours long, and so I had all this time to do absolutely nothing, which is what I did. So all my time was spent in this way that made me feel good in the moment, but then any other time I was, craving it. I was feeling absolutely horrible with what I was doing with my life. I felt, bored. I felt tired of what my life was looking like. And I knew I needed a change. The only problem was I didn't know what I needed to change to. So in this video, I want to cover how I switched to calisthenics, how I started, and really what the benefits I got from it. Some of them were pretty immediate, some of them took a little while, but I'm not going to cover the ones you've probably already heard before. I'm not going to cover strength, muscle, because we already knew that. We know it's a good way to build those things, and I don't want to waste your time. So I'm going to cover the ones you might not have heard of. So there was this one day, I was just, scrolling, and I was getting ready to basically get off for the day. It was getting late, I was tired, and I thought to myself, well, I'll just do a couple more. So I did, and they were all pretty boring, but then I got to one that actually caught my eye, which was rare for me at the time because my dopamine receptors had been so fried that very few videos had actually been able to, get my attention. But this one did, and for good reason. It was a video of a guy, I don't know who it was, but he was doing a planche, and if you don't know, the planche to me is one of the most insane calisthenics skills of all time. I actually achieved it probably a month ago after 2 years, and it was amazing, right? It was this whole new thing that I've never seen before. I'd never even considered it possible until I saw that video, and it just opened my mind to the possibilities of, man, if I could do this, it would be amazing. And so I started, I started training the planche, I started training calisthenics as a whole. And I had already been doing push-ups for about 2 years at that point, but I was basically not even consistent anymore, so I didn't really consider those as, something I did. But, I start training, and it takes me actually a long time to see progress, which at first I thought was annoying, right? Because I was used to everything being quick, scrolling, watching Netflix, all those quick shots to each other. And this was really the first thing in my life where I didn't grasp it very quickly. It took a long time to see progress. And it was, definitely a change. And it turned out to be a really good change. And I'll explain why in a minute. So after about a month or two, I actually gained some strength. I'm able to do the first progression of the planche. This thing.
The planche.
Yeah, how'd you do?
I'm good with you.
And this is where I start plateauing, right? I get to a point where I'm not making as much progress, or at least I didn't think I was making as much progress. So I give up. I stop training for about a month until I get this reignition point where my feed, my Instagram feed and my TikTok feed is getting to be a lot more about calisthenics. And so this one, video allows me to get interested again in it. And so I started again. And I make progress slowly, little by little. It's not fast because, it's not meant to be. But I am seeing progress. And after 2 years, here I am. So really the first change I noticed, or the first benefit, was that I was doing something productive with my time, finally, and I was actually having fun with it. And so I wasn't used to things being both productive and fun. I was used to one or the other, right? If it was fun, it wasn't productive, and vice versa. But this was really one of the first things where it was, voluntary. I didn't have to do it. And I felt good and happy with myself for doing it. And so that was a really insane thing for me because, during the pandemic, I obviously wasn't doing anything. And, up until that point, I hadn't really considered any habit being like that before. And if you're, if you're used to habits where they're either boring but they help you, or fun but they're bad for you, I would definitely consider trying calisthenics. It was really hard for me at first to start, getting consistent, progressing, but the more you do it, the more you, one, have fun doing it, and two, the more it just becomes part of your routine. And once it's part of your routine, you're good. You don't even have to think about it anymore. You're just excited to basically work out, right? Because now I've been doing it for a couple of years. I don't see progress very fast, but I just love doing it. I just love being in the workout. I love the environment. I love, you know, practicing, right? That's just something I love to do now. And so it's one, a good spend of my time, and two, it's just fun to do. It's really a win-win. It's a Pascal's wager or so. And man, if you're looking for something to do, this can easily take, an hour and a half of your time. But obviously it doesn't have to take that long. You can do it at home in 30 minutes. I've done that before, But if you're bored at home, if you're used to just being on your electronics all the time, why not start with this? You don't have to start with a hard progression. Calisthenics is amazing because you can stay at the level of challenge where you're at. So you can always make a exercise harder, either by adding more lean or doing a different, progression. But you can also make it easier by doing the opposite, right? So I definitely recommend to look up a few tutorials on calisthenics, maybe calisthenics for beginners, or whatever you are, right? If you're a professional gymnast, go with that, right? But yeah, that's definitely a plus of calisthenics. That's what I've noticed. And it was, one of the first things I noticed because I was just doing something that was fun and took a lot of my time, which I had a lot of during that pandemic and, after that. Another benefit I saw that took a little longer to form in my mind was that I was getting a lot more comfortable, talking to new people. And this may seem weird to you because what does that have to do with it? And I'm not positive, but I think the main, contributor to that is that I was, really proud of myself for progressing in something difficult. And I think I was able to turn that into, confidence talking to people because I was proud of myself. I think the more you do good things for yourself and the more you enjoy it, the more confident you can be in other areas of your life. And I've noticed this when I've done, meditation, when I've done gratitude journaling. Basically, the better I feel about myself, the easier it is to do new, harder things, which for me was talking to new people. And that came at a good time because I was, just getting back into high school from the pandemic, and I didn't have that many friends. I had some who were, good friends of mine, but other than that, I really didn't talk to anyone else. And so I started because of calisthenics as well as a few other habits I started doing. Basically, the more I felt good about myself and the more I felt proud about, myself for doing these difficult but fun habits, the easier it was to do other difficult but fun habits, right? It's magnetic. The more you do of one, the more you can receive. So when I was first starting calisthenics, I didn't want to tell anyone because I knew I would just lose interest in it if I did. And I was kind of embarrassed by not being able to, do anything cool yet, right? But as I slowly progressed, as I, got better, I slowly started telling a few people. At first it was just, family and really close friends. This was when I was maybe halfway to unlocking the planche. But pretty soon I got a lot more comfortable with it. I got a lot, better. And what was it? Maybe half a year ago, I made an Instagram account. At this point, a lot more people knew because I started posting my, things I was able to do in calisthenics on that Instagram account. And, people from my school were following that account. People I knew from other things were following that account. And so eventually I was kind of just considered the person who did calisthenics, which personally, like, I'd always wanted something I was known for. Growing up, I didn't really have anything like that. I did, soccer, I did basketball, I did baseball, but I wasn't good at any of those things. It wasn't something I was known for, and I wanted something that I could be, connected to. I wanted people to say, Amit, oh, that guy was good at whatever, blank. I didn't know what it was until, I started doing calisthenics. This became what I was known for. And I'm really glad I did calisthenics instead of weightlifting, because weightlifting has, very similar benefits to calisthenics, right? The muscle, the strength, the things I was talking about before. But the thing is, it's a lot more common than calisthenics, I think. And so there's a lot of people in my school that do weightlifting. There are not a lot of people in my school that do calisthenics. And I think the reason I was able to really stand out in it and, become what people consider to be the calisthenics person, or the person you'd ask for help, right, is because it was rare. It was a skill not a lot of people were, exposed to or knew about. And so it was something that people naturally attributed to me because I was getting good at it at that point. So, yeah, man, that's really it for the video. If you have any other, benefits you noticed that were specific to you, or you think other people have them, write it in a comment. I'd love to know. I'd love to see what I missed or what I forgot. Because if you have anything, I'd love to hear from you. So, thanks for watching. If you want some cool clothing, head to workoutproject.com. I'll leave it in the description. And yeah, man, that's it.